Preceding this post was the earlier post about the 7 solid signs to the abundance spirit set as opposed to mindset. And before that, there was the 7 signs that you're now on the 5th dimension timeline. What is abundance? And how does our relationship evolve? What happens to any poverty complexes? What happens to our relationship with money when we go through an awakening? When you go through a spiritual awakening from a life that was lived with just these 3 dimensions that we can see, that we can envisage and perceive through our 5 senses, right? Where very little is known about consciousness, where very little is known about how to manipulate energy, where very little is known about the mind and the origin of the mind. Now, as you traverse this, go through your healing crisis, which becomes the spiritual awakening process and the journey itself, through that, you find that your relationship around abundance shifts. Now, abundance, as we know, is not the same as currency, not the same as money, not the same as an exchange, not a transaction, right? And it is also not that which you can acquire through money. Abundance is a state of feeling more. Abundance is a feeling, is a state when you are in tune with providence. So, if someone came to your house to eat, or if you came to my home to eat, right, what will we do? When we cook, we generally tend to cook a little more, right? So there is an abundance of food tonight. There is an abundance of sweets. There is an abundance. When you exude the energy of love, there is an abundance of love when love is not given with hesitation. It is simply flowing, right? Abundance happens when there is an overflow from an existing flow. So it is not that you're starting with, I have just this much. No, you have this and more, and it is overflowing. So there is abundance. Copious amounts is abundant. You can be in abundant health. You can be feeling an abundant well-being, abundance in intellect, right? Abundance in your knowledge, abundance in your wisdom, abundance in relationships. You get the drift. Abundance, right? Abundance started to get a little bit mixed up and muddled with money because money started to come in the way for some of us, right? And because of the relationship we've had with money, not from now, from generations before, and what we saw, what money can do, and how we turned from having barter trade, exchanging value for value, right? That became very inconvenient because maybe you didn't have what I wanted, but I had what you wanted, right? So then what were we going to do about it? And currency was introduced. But, right, we also know that currency is just currency. It actually doesn't exist until we give it meaning in whatever we are going to do, right, with it. Now, what happens when you're going through a spiritual awakening as you start to heal your Muladhara chakra, your root chakra, your chakra to survive, your survival instinct is tamed. Now, what has this got to do with money, right? What has this got to do with abundance? Now, when we are quick to sense danger, when we are always trying to ensure our life, our future, think about safety, and when we are scrambling for the resources which somehow or the other we have come to believe are limited, we become greedy, we become competitive, right? All sorts of different aspects, right, develop different types of characteristics. It's not personas arise out of this, that I need to survive, I need to survive, right? And as a result, what happens? You may make the money, right? You may make the grade if you're competing for a grade or you're competing for a position, right? But other aspects in your life might flop or fail. So you may have people who have a lot of money, abundance in money, so currency, properties, right? But there are aspects of their life that are neglected or non existent. Apart from the aspects of their 3D life, right? They may not even have a clue about the possibility of the fifth dimension or consciousness, energy, any of that, right? So, as we go through our ascension, we go through our shift, and we heal our survival instinct. Apart from the emotional traumas, apart from everything else that got us to walk on eggshells, right? Or for us to feel more vigilant. So we are hyper vigilant, right? That, oh, this is not right for me, this is not right for me, and as a result we are unable to be loving and cooperating, we are unable to be our normal natural self, which is loving and cooperative. Our natural self doesn't want to fight, right? Our natural self doesn't like confrontation. Our natural self doesn't recoil in fear. That's what an animal will do, right? And that's what our reptilian brain is there for, right? For survival. That's where the hunter gatherer, right? So when you went to the forest, you went to the um, caves and everything, when you needed that survival instinct, it was there. But now, where do we need that survival instinct? Very rarely. So now we have a different type of predator. It will be your competitor, right? It'll be the scams, it'll be fraud, it'll be all sorts of different wild animals in the jungle. They are still there. They are still there, right? And so that will threaten the food that is coming to our table, because we are still, remember, in the survival instinct. So whilst we are not out there in that kind of jungle where we were worried about the predators, right? We are now in a different kind of jungle. Either way, the jungle operates on the principles of the survival instinct. Please stay tuned in for the next part. It is going to be a series on abundance and spiritual awakening. Lots of love. See you in a minute.